Am I
Trash
being
heroes.
heard and seen?
Looks like there's some lines. Lines are going up.
I heard my own voice for a second there when I had the sound on, so I must be here. Oh no, Morgan is feted and feted is missing. Also, you've got Tromlin's face holder up, but Randy's actually on camera.
Randy, do
Alright,
you
I
want
threw
to be on?
everything off.
Do you want to be on camera?
fine.
Are you?
Okay.
That's fine.
I will de-hide.
Also, birds can be heard, so
I know.
therefore, it's good.
Birds always.
We'll fix. We'll forget in a minute. We're since Raven is delayed,
Yep.
and I can just go ahead and start doing the introductory things. What I do while we await that fixing. So I will once again welcome for the last time this year my internet friends and webcomic fans. It's me, your friendly neighborhood dungeon biologist, and I'm here to welcome you again to another heaping helping of Trash Heroes, the D&D stream where we recount the epic adventures of a wildly improbable collection of horrible creatures known as the Trash Heroes.
It's us.
And as always, our players are a wondrous collection of internet artists and makers and doers of things that you can check out in the upper right of your screen when you see a list of various social medias and websites and Patreons where you can support artists, which is always a great thing. And hey, it's Christmas time. I'm going to actually check and see if that's visible at all.
Yeah.
It
A
is
little,
slightly.
kinda.
The
Yeah.
top of the fireplace is visible. Hey, you know what? I can control this.
You can. There you go. Just adjust that up.
There.
There. Nice.
There you go. Now it's a Merry Christmas.
It looks like our little trash meter is on fire. Our inspiration meter with the trash
Perfect.
gets extra
Nah.
trashy.
It's how you know it's the Trash Heroes.
Yeah.
Because things are on
We're
fire.
a trash fire. Someone set the DM on fire.
Oh yeah, most
Yeah.
DMs are dealing with being on fire. It's kind of just how it works. So hey, without further ado, let's meet the characters. Pico has opinions.
No, that's Meg. Meg has opinions.
Oh, is that Meg?
Meg is
very
extra
upset
squeaky
about
today.
everything. DM dumpster manager. I'm sadly cannot countermand that. So away because it's already Christmas time in Kobold Land. Keeper of the vermin, protector of the trap sheep, fetid quaggle.
That's Jeff. Someone had to say something like his
Yeah.
catchphrase.
Perfect. Next is the larger-than-life pit-fighting superstar, Oogna Sugartusk.
It's me, your pal Oogna.
For some reason says a different thing now.
I don't know.
No reason.
What are you talking about? I've always said that.
Fairies never stole any of your names. Next we have Trickster Cleric, Rogue Baker, and all-around party animal, Tromlin Darioles.
What's up, sluts?
Oh,
We lost
Your,
the clone.
we lost your extra feed.
Boss
Or was
me
that
or
deliberate? No, we
No,
lost
you're
the
right.
clone that Lena had set up, so now our cameras are off. I'm Copernicus now. And my shoulder is the DM. No, actually, that's half of my shoulder and half of Alina's. So that's who's running the game, everybody. A couple of shoulders. I'm Copernicus.
I'm gonna try and be Tromlin. Hold on. There we
For
go.
it. You're just poking your head up. Oh, nope. Nope, you're back to
Dethroned.
normal.
I fixed it.
Dethroned. You know, you are no longer
I fixed
cool
it.
enough to be Tromlin. And then there is the wild magic streaming sensation, Morgan V. Sater, who is running late, but will hopefully be here soon. And finally, our sweet old grandpa, who's also accidentally an ancient warlock, Copernicus Sunshine.
Horrifying catchphrase and a happy new year.
That is a pretty horrifying catchphrase. So when we last left our heroes, oh my goodness. This
A few
was
things
quite an
happened.
interesting one.
A few
Yeah, we
things.
picked up last game with Morgan and Fetid in the bath, where Morgan was getting Fetid high on fairy drugs, while Oogna and Tromlin heart to heart in the bedroom. Oogna burst into tears, saying she thinks Morgan broke up with her and was confused and hurt, and Tromlin tried to comfort her. Meanwhile, Pernie was chatting with his relatives, the mummy lord Sextus Nonus Verus and the mad Carax, after his daughter Lucretia had stormed off, and learned that they have come to help her defend the town from an army of cultists massing in the Deadlands. This eventually led to Pernie deciding that the way to make up for his long absence and for forgetting to tell his daughter that her mother had died was to plan a ceremonial funeral for Barb. He decided to search the house for artifacts that were important to Barb to reestablish her connection to the bucket and to Pernie. However, Oogna had wandered off, gone to drink away her sorrows on the roof, but Tromlin was able to find her and gather up all the party in the family graveyard to create a memorial. He cast ceremony, and Pernie began to share stories about Barb's life, but it was not enough until Morgan used a hero point, which allowed her wild magic to spark a fey vision that the whole party could see, and the party saw Pernie's memories of a shining black stone pyramid in the desert, surrounded by a howling sandstorm. Underneath the pyramid, a somewhat younger Pernie was seen laying on the ground, bleeding out from his wrists in the middle of a pentacle of blood. The dread Barbarhotep was standing over him in protective stance, holding a scepter and chanting in front of a giant throne of obsidian glass on which sat a godlike figure of shadows wearing a pharaoh's headdress. Barb declared that Pernie should not have signed the pact, but the shadow stated that it was too late and blasted a lance of dark energy at Pernie. And Barb threw herself in the way, giving her life to save Pernie's. His next memory was of the aftermath, sweeping what's left of her into the bucket. The vision ended, and Pernie cried tears of blood. The group tried to comfort him, but Tromlin suddenly slumped into Oogna's arms, having poured all of his own blood into the ritual cauldron in an attempt to empower Barb's spirit. Pernie cast Spare the Dying and took a black token, which you should be able to see on your screen, in order to I lost my place. In order to awaken his memories to complete this ritual. And so he remembered that the stone from Barb's black scepter was in fact within the catacombs beneath the house. He sent his servants to bring it to him, and also remembered that the mummy lords have significant negative energy powers. So he called for his cousin Sextus, placing the black stone into the cauldron of blood. Sextus blasted the stone with negative energy. It was absorbed, and Pernie placed the stone into the bucket. And with that, Morgan's wild magic completed the ritual. A gloomy tree with white flowers grew up in the center of the mausoleum, and the runes on the bucket glowed as Barb's spirit was restored. And that's basically where we left off. So
But, and we grew a big. I think we grew Barb into a tree.
yeah,
Sort
that's
of?
what I said.
Yeah. So
Oh,
she's got like
sort of.
two
A
two
tree
anchors
grew.
now. She's got a bucket and
yeah.
a tree. She can jump between them.
Yeah.
It's like a
There's now
timeshare.
a memorial. There's a memorial Barb's tomb kind of set up now with a skeletal tree with white flowers growing, but also the runes in the bucket are glowing again.
Nice.
So Barb has been restored to whatever semblance of unlife she previously was enjoying.
Life?
Yeah. Barb has been brought back to life.
Mm-hmm. Every air quotes on all of those words.
Yeah.
Yep. Barb has been brought,
Hey, there's another guy.
etc. So,
Were we still in the garden under the No,
Yeah.
I was just checking. I haven't seen any replies.
Yep,
So
no worries then. I will hold off on doing a poll then.
Okay.
I was going to start it soon, but I'll wait until
I'll
we
maybe
are
just
the
message
Morgan.
Raven to just jump in whenever she's good to go.
I'm gonna say that at this point, Fetid just suddenly starts coming down, and he starts screaming and going, I got I got bugs all over me. I got bugs all over me. Like he's just noticed.
Yeah.
And then he goes running off into the night, and Morgan goes after him, going, "Sorry, my bad, my fault. I'll fix it."
He doesn't usually care about the bugs.
Leaving the
Weird.
rest of you hanging out.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he drinks a tall glass of water and gets some sleep. That'll set you right when you're tripping on the devil's shrooms.
So Carax and Sextus are here with you guys, and Sextus picks up a conversation that he was having earlier with Barb's bucket, where he was like all straining to hear, but now he's addressing the tree, and only Copernicus can probably understand him because he's probably speaking in abyssal. Tromlin, of course, with your language skills, you can pick up bits and pieces, but it's basically like, "So how has it been?" And just doing the undead version of catching up on family gossip.
Right.
And Carax is giggling wildly in the corner, sitting on the ground and holding his own feet and kind of rolling back and forth.
A weird little dude.
Whatever helps soothe you, that's fine. You don't have to be here if you don't want to, but you know. I was going to say the same thing. So what? But no, there's no specific details that come out with cousin Sextus Nonius's conversation with Barb. No, are there any details of import or interest that come up in that conversation?
Probably not so much. Mainly because if anything, he's kind of like, so how was the void? You know, Barb's like talking about again. Barb doesn't really speak coherently. It's like strange sensations as she is not really here. But he seems satisfied with the answers that he's getting. Like,
So what time is it now? Like how long till morning? Because I do want the party
it
to get
is,
rest. I think
That's true.
we lost a lot
yeah,
of hit
it
points.
is
It's a
quite
long
late.
day.
It is quite late. And Tromlin is like
Half dead.
yeah, I believe Fetid did a cure wounds on him after he was down, but like that's all the hit points he's got.
Yeah.
It's like one cure wounds worth.
Well, I think we're all in pretty desperate need of some whatever shut-eye we can get before morning. I say we retire to our chambers, and in the morning I'll introduce Lucretia to the morning, the news that it represents, which I think she's probably figured out by now. And then we'll take things from there. I think I'd like to offer her our help and our knowledge about the problem she's been dealing with coming out of the Deadlands, and perhaps we can arrange a little bit of a war council to figure out what the next move should be.
We have received some hype.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long enough day. You alright to walk, Trom, or you want me to carry you?
I'm fine. 2 steps, faceplant.
Yeah, I'll pick you back up. Cradle you
I cast
gently in
fly
my
on
arms.
you just so you can't fall over anymore.
You just fall and then just like hover there.
Yeah.
Got him.
I'll just heft you in my arms, bridal style, and carry you off to the room that we're bunking in.
I think Pernie will actually sleep under the tree tonight. Like I think he'll just like pull some blankets out,
Sleep.
make a little blanket for it at the base of the tree, and yeah, sleep. Hey, Barb has a new physical form now, so we can try things we haven't done before.
Come to Trash Heroes, where people talk about fucking a tree.
Hey, she's got
Why
wood.
stop at tree hunters?
Yeah, like I mean, it seems like our distant grandchild caught it. Same
Yeah.
bug.
Yep.
There's a lot of wood in this family.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Hey, sir.
So, I was going to say that Sextus was going to just kind of sit up out here and commune a while after you guys go to bed, but he'll leave and give you some privacy if that's the case.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it. Pernie is
Karax-
shooting a long rest. He needs a long rest. His refractory period is
Yeah.
requiring of a long rest.
So Karax scuttles off into the graveyard, into the shadows, and disappears. And Slugworth shows up with his, or is it Slimeworth? I can't remember.
Slimeworth and Cuttlespoon.
Yeah.
Cuttlespoon, there it is. Slimeworth. I just had to open the right file. So Slimeworth is going to appear and say, "This way, young masters," and lead you all into the house, back to the big master bedroom where Oogna and Tromlin were previously, and where you ditched your stuff. And then he goes off to find Morgan and Fetid and lead them somewhere to sleep. And Sextus just sort of wanders back into the dining room to sit until morning. Yeah, you all get a long rest,
Yay!
Woo!
Oh,
so
thank
everyone
goodness.
can replenish all your stuff.
Hell yes.
Which is good because I think Morgan's out of spells or just about out of spells, and Tromlin was almost out of spells.
Yep.
Sir, that is my entire face.
Oh no, actually, you guys were out of spells. I just remembered we basically went from the. That's why Morgan was out of spells because of all the teleporting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get you guys
We went
up
from
to
the
the lake,
tunnel
'cause you
into the
haven't
lake
had-
to the tavern to the castle, and now we're still here.
Yeah, I think this is truly the most running on empty I've ever had a character.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm a warlock. Like, I get my spell slots back, but every other daily feature has been used. Every hit die has been used, and I'm still at like, I think like under 20 hit
And-
points or something. Yeah.
Yep.
And emotionally, you know,
Okay.
you're not. You had a night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
been
it
a hell of a night.
was a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all can get some rest. Anything of note occurring over the night?
Anyone have any bizarre dreams because we're sleeping in a haunted house? Or do the ghosties leave us alone?
Pern probably gets his first like really like okay, he doesn't sleep, but I think he gets his first like this is how rest is supposed to be in like 100 years because he's been like constantly just sleeping at different people's couches or spare rooms
Yeah.
or on the road. And I think this is his favorite place to pretend to sleep is here. Not necessarily all he doesn't usually sleep in the graveyard or whatever, but I think still it's like it's a homecoming. It's a homecoming.
It's no
Probably just a little
dirt
bit weird.
like home grave dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nothing like the soil of your native country.
Yeah.
That's what you say.
I do think though probably it is a little bit there is something a little bit weird in him that aligns to the realization that this is not his home anymore, that it really is Lucretia's home and that he's a guest. I think he probably feels that most when he's like laying down and the just I don't know. The way that the ghosts tread around the master of the house is different than around him as a guest. And it's like, oh, I haven't been haunted by that specter before. I wonder why. He gets kind of used to a different perspective on it.
You likely get a little bit of interruption in your sleep, even because, of course, um, you are for the first time in like quite a while in game. You can be fully susceptible to your flaw, and
Yeah.
are haunted
Yeah.
through the night.
Yeah.
So
I think Pernie normally when he's fake sleeping, he's just like reading a book, and you know if someone wakes up and sees that he's not asleep, he's like, "Oh, I just had some, I slept for a while and then I woke up or whatever." I think he just is sitting up, like mostly just fully dissociating, and then every now and then reacting to like a sound or something.
Interesting.
So it's a little bit different for him. But like, no, he doesn't to read, doesn't have the mental fortitude to read. He's doing much more of like an elf trance type deal.
Intriguing. Oogna and Tromlin, are you just sacking out?
Probably. I don't think Tromblin has the energy to do anything else.
Yeah. Oogna will
Okay.
put you into bed very gently, like tuck you in. And then she doesn't immediately go to bed. Once it seems like you've fallen asleep and are breathing deeply, she's gonna like sit and watch for a bit till she eventually goes to sleep.
Oh,
So like wakes up in an armchair situation, having
Yeah.
intended to go to bed, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go ahead and run the poll.
All right. I will get
I
out of the
won't be able to
chat.
do it. I won't be able to do it yet, but yes, if you could please step away from the chat, my players.
Do that now.
I am going to go ahead. And sorry, just cutting and pasting. This is the last quote or the last poll of the year. I will remind the audience that the poll will run for 10 minutes,
Wait.
as always.
so
So you
silly.
have 10 minutes to vote. You can vote once automatically, and then, of course, you can use
So
channel
silly.
points to vote as many times as you would like. So you can do some interesting things here. I have some interesting things in mind for all of these. So
Ooh.
That sounds like a threat.
select the one
yeah.
that
I was
you would like.
exactly what I was thinking.
Rico, you know you can eat food. I don't have to
Okay.
stand beside you. You can go and eat some lunch.
The
Nope.
birds are very anxious because we're packing up to go home for Christmas, and so things are disrupted, and it's very upsetting.
They don't
Oh
understand
no.
what's happening.
They like
I
everything
should
to
get him
always
some
be
treats. Hang
exactly.
on, I'll be right back.
Give him some treats. Okay. Um, so Tromlin, during the night, um, you have a little dream.
Oh, good.
Uh, in your dream, you are just kind of floating in a dark abyss, which is a thing you used to occasionally do when you spent 5 years living in the Underdark. Um, you would just sometimes go to like the abyss.
Yeah.
There's just like there's the local abyss,
Sometimes you're in the
and hang
abyss.
out and float there. But in this particular case, you're not floating alone. Also floating in the abyss with you is your little puppet son. Um, and he's just quietly playing and singing his little song to himself. Snipper snap, snipper snap for tipper tap. Snipper snap, cut the strings, tipper tap. Free and sings. And he's doing his little dances.
Do I know I'm in a dream?
Yeah, you're pretty sure. You sort of like go, oh no, I'm back in the Underdark, and you go to move around, and then you're like, no, wait a second, I'm dreaming. And you look up, and you see that there's like almost a shadowy suggestion of a face making up like the ceiling of this void-like cavern or whatever your dream is putting you in, and the
Mhm.
face takes up the whole ceiling. These kind of mocking eyes looking down at you,
That's
and
great.
you can see uh, it's looking down at you like kind of smugly, but then it uh, glances at your son Tipper Tap whenever he sings his little song too loudly in annoyance, uh, and you kind of see almost like spider web like threads hanging down from the face. Uh, like it would be puppet strings, but they are not attached to anything. They're just hanging there. One thread seems to come down to yourself,
Hmm.
but the others are just kind of flapping in the breeze. Um, you think these might be strings that were meant to be attached to your son.
Um, since it's dreams, I'm gonna try to whip up a little toy for him out of nothing. Like this is a teddy bear version of himself.
For sure.
That he has something to play with and probably keep a little quieter.
This absolutely does work.
I'll say, I'll say, I give you a toy, but I need you to be a little quiet. I think someone needs to talk to me.
Yeah, he will come and say, what would he say? Say, yes, yes, for snipper snap, tipper tap.
All right, once I get him settled down, I will address the figure looming above me.
What do you say?
Oh, do I know who it is? I'm assuming it's Loth.
Doesn't look like Loth. It looks like a masculine face, although certainly, you know, fey and ambiguous.
Well, if it's fey and ambiguous, I will genuflect appropriately, show my deference, and say, to what do I owe this pleasure and honor?
Um, the face grins almost terrifyingly, but doesn't say anything. And the eyes, which just seem like empty wells of black, kind of flash in the darkness. But as you're looking at that grinning face, you can feel like charm, like as though a charm person spell, but one that you can sense as it's happening. You can just feel the waves of charisma coming off of this face,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that like you could do if you even if you had some means of attacking it or doing something to it, you just wouldn't be able to bring yourself to.
I
But
knew
as
that
you're
from
oh,
a face hovering above me that I wasn't gonna fuck with this.
yeah, but like you just that feeling of being charmed, you feel like you couldn't you couldn't be mad at him. But you also hear skittering noises, um, and Tinker Tap does a little start of alarm. But you can see spider-like creatures skittering at the edges of the shadow around just at the edge of your vision. Um, but enough flashes of their faces that you realize that they are the faces of your daughters, and you can hear Webbigail's song, her siren song, echoing in the distance. And you notice um, threads of these puppet strings, like the one that comes down to Elf, uh, stretching out into the shadows to
Good boy.
your various daughters as well.
Good boy.
Uh, and the face that was kind of scowling at Tipper Tap is uh, much more pleased about these new arrivals. Just a few minutes left on the poll, everybody. I have a current strong leader, but not enough votes to make a difference, so it's still anybody's game. If anybody wants to see one of these others come up, you've got about 2 minutes, maybe 3, to make that happen.
Okay, should I do like a religion check to see if I know who this is?
Sure. Actually, hang on. Let me take a look at your skill list and see what makes a lot of sense here. Um, yeah, I'm looking at all of the possible ones here, which are like religion, arcana, and history, and their role would be the same in all cases. So it doesn't really
So
matter.
roll 1d20 plus 1.
Yep.
How do I do that right?
Well, here we go. The last minute votes are piling in.
I'll be an 18.
18's pretty solid. With an 18, you are focusing on, like, you don't recognize this face, and it's not really a real, like, you imagine this is more of an impression of a face and wouldn't be something that you could recognize a person um, by. But you, um, just from the you're back in the void. Your various children are here, and this thing has strings uh, to yourself and to others. Um, you're guessing that this is related to the pact, the contract that you have learned that you are under. Um, you know
Oh,
that you're
the one
that
that
your
my parents made.
yeah, that your mother specifically, right?
Uh,
You learned from the Raven Queen that your mother. Uh, oh, here we go. Last few seconds. Here we go. It's almost over. Is it going to be okay? It is, in fact, the leader. Excellent. Thank you very much. I will keep that now for the next little while here. Okay. So, um, yeah, you know from the Raven Queen, you had learned from the Raven Queen that your mother had in fact signed a pact with a Fae, or a contract with a Fae, uh, to expand her husband's power in exchange for her firstborn son, and that this was part of the reason why your parents abandoned you when you were born, because they clearly did not want to have crazy Fae things show up and make demands. So they just went, wait, well, there he is. He's out there on the streets somewhere. Or at least that seems to be, in your mind, how it probably went.
mhm.
Um,
Real
and
great
so you
folks, your
already know
parents.
there's a Fae out there of some kind that has some sort of claim over you, and the symbology of this dream, which you have realized you are now kind of having a waking dream. Uh, so the dream symbology here makes you go, all right, this big looming laughing fairy face laugh that's mocking me, that has some kind of like hold over me. Clearly, this represents whatever Fae it is that signed this contract.
Fun.
Um, so Tipper Tap will huddle close to you, and kind of somewhat fearful of the big face, mainly because of all of his half siblings that are now kind of skittering around in the dark, and you can hear them chanting, "Father, Father,
Yes, my children.
and blood, bones and blood, Father, Father, bones and blood," as they skitter around. Webigail's song, of course, very distant. You imagine that she's further away, singing her siren song that she eternally sings in the Underdark to lure things to her little lake.
Well, I guess the good thing for is it Tipper Tap?
Yep.
His name is that he is a puppet and not bones and meat.
Mm-hmm.
He would be in big trouble. Uh, I tell him actually, no, those are your siblings.
He goes, Father, no, no, not for me, for him.
Oh yes, I know. He's making you nervous. It's okay.
Oh, Father, where is Snicker Snap? Snicker Snap. Snicker Snap, cut the strings, Father.
I have no idea.
Why not cut the strings, father?
Is he telling me to cut the strings?
Something like that. He's talking about something called a snicker snap or snipper snap. Snipper snap for tipper tap. Cut the strings for dance and sing.
And there's not a string on my son, correct? He said.
No, but you can see a bunch of puppet-like strings hanging loose in the dream that uh, you imagine have been cut. And just on the base of your 18 religion roll there on the symbology, you know that your little wooden son is serving the Raven Queen,
Mm-hmm.
not whatever fairy lord this is. And it occurs to you, looking at these strings, not only do you have a string, but so do your various daughters out in the dark. And you realize that if the firstborn has a contract, if the firstborn belongs to someone, then what of those born of the firstborn's blood?
Yeah. Do I think I could cut these? That's a good question.
You're not sure. You kind of like reach up to the string that seems to go to the back of your head, uh, and you clutch at it, but you don't feel anything. Like you don't know whether your hand's just passing through it, or if it's just so ephemeral that it has no weight, no feel that you can touch. Um, but you're just not sure if you're actually grasping at anything.
I'm just going to be direct because that's what I'm better at anyway. I will address this entity in Sylvan
Mm-hmm.
and ask if you come to claim the end result of my parents' contract with you.
At this, the face like completely twists in uh, malicious mirth. Um, but this time you actually hear like an echoing rumble of a laughter of like a ho, 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 just echoing through the caverns, not necessarily emanating from the face, but from all around. Uh, and then you hear a voice in your head, much like when Copernicus writes, and you just kind of like feel in your mind the impression of the words that have been spoken, as if you had just heard them, but you're not actually physically hearing them. You're remembering them. In the same way, these words in your mind said, um, "Oh, little toy, the end is not yet nigh. You have much more work to do." And at that point, the face starts to fade into just the the shadows of the ceiling, as though it was never there. It was like almost like looking at clouds. The shadows of a dark roof. It looked like a face when you were looking at it a certain way, and now that angle has changed. But as that is occurring, you can see better now that you're in a cavern rather than a void, and skittering in the shadows in the darkness, the various spider offspring. Um, you still hear them chanting, but now they're chanting like a ritual, like some sort of magical chant, something an occultan kind of that sort of language you would use to cast spells or arcane spells. But the thing that's interesting about it is you recognize this chant. You've heard this rite or something similar to it. Um, and for a few minutes, you're just listen to it, trying to remember, or trying to think where it comes from. Uh, uh, Tipper Tap at this point is now just dancing happily again. With the face gone, he doesn't seem to care much or as much about his half sisters being around. But you're racking your brains, and then suddenly it comes to you. Um, you think you've heard some of the bits of this ritual. You were kind of out of it. You were drug doped at the time, and just coming around. It was the ritual that your sister was using when your sister and when your younger siblings had captured you in the tower in Ravenfell. When you were brought up to their rooms and she was trying to do some sort of ritual with a cauldron to make some sort of potion or something. We're going to do something to you before you made everything explode and were rescued by El Gato. Every time I say that name, I imagine a little like Spanish music sting.
Yep.
But you were rescued by El Gato. But it's definitely your daughters who are here chanting that chant.
Oh,
Like you're not hearing the voice of your sister or anything like that.
well, that's concerning
Mm-hmm.
for a few reasons. So my kids are trying to basically go to the same place. Uh,
Well, you do
trying to think.
recall you do recall the last time you saw your sister and your little brother, right?
Yeah, they were in that tower, weren't they?
In Ravenfall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got your hands on them and you threw them through a portal to your children as
Oh
sacrifice.
no, they converted my children, didn't they?
Well, you don't know. Um, you do recall hearing as you were trapped sideways in the Feywild during the teleportation between the Wizard's Vale and the Dwarf City. You do recall hearing the voices of your children uh, chanting something about "Thank you, Father. We have learned so much. Thank you for your gift,
Great.
Father."
Good boy.
And with that, the dream kind of resorts normal dream situation where you don't really. Oh no! It's a
He's
little
so
bird on a
cool.
skateboard.
He's so cool.
I should switch to looking at the Discord rather than the. I always forget and I watch the stream for a while and then I remember that there's a delay and I'm confused.
Yep.
All right. So the last thing you see with that thought, suddenly you can see your daughters more clearly. The three of them anyway. Webigail's not there, but you can see the other three of them um, chanting around a giant cauldron, uh, very much similar to the ritual that you saw your sister starting to do. However, in this case, the cauldron has various things bobbing in it that you quickly recognize as pieces of human beings, and you see a hand bob to the surface. And the last thing you see before you wake up, as your sisters are starting to like dip spoons and taste and go, and then add different little bits of seasoning, much as their father might do. Um, the last thing you see is a face bob to the surface, the sunken eyes and sneering lips of your little brother. Um, and of course, Lane doesn't have the right notes in front of him, so his name escapes me. Uh,
Zeppo.
nope, it was. That would be good though. I didn't give you enough brothers for that to work. You only had two. Um, it was like a Lotho or something like that.
Yeah.
I was
Lothric.
stealing Lothric. I was
Yeah.
stealing from the Sackville Bagginses. Yes, it was Lothric. As his face bobs to the surface, still with his usual like smug look on his face, but very clearly dead, bobbing in the soup. And then you start awake. Um, when you do so, you find yourself in the creepy ass bedroom, sunken into this like weird bed that like just like sinks like 3 feet when you lie in it. Um, but it's an enormous like king size plus bed, and there's two big divots in it because next to you is the mass of Oogna
No,
sleeping
Oogna's, there's
on the other
the
side.
leather chair with like a coffin-shaped
Oh
back
right,
across the
you're
room,
sitting
and
up.
I'm slumped in it, sort of with my head on my chest,
Yep.
sleeping.
Yep. But also, as you wake, sitting at the foot of the bed, looking at you, is Tipper Tap. Just sitting there, perched with his little hands on his little wooden knees, his unblinking raven mask face.
I reach into my pouch of spices and I pull out some peppermint and give them to him.
Thank you, Father.
Good boy.
What did you see, Father? What did you see?
I saw your sisters performing a ritual, and I saw your uncle being made into a meal by them. I did not see your aunt, so he was either in the pot as well or escaped.
Ah, yes, Father. Dark magics.
Mm-hmm.
They are not free, Father.
No, they never are.
No. Tipper Tap is free, Father. Snipper Snap. Snipper Snap cut the strings
Mm-hmm. I
so he
see.
can dance and sing.
Did you want to stay with me, or do you want to travel on your own?
I must stay, Father.
Okay.
Said, she said so. She
Ah,
said, "Shh, snipper snap, tipper tap will watch, Father.
oh,
Tipper
good.
tap
We
will
have
make
the
you do."
Raven Queen's very own Narc with us.
That's good.
Doesn't particularly react to that, but probably doesn't know what a narc is.
Yeah.
He starts to just do a little dance at the foot of the bed, spinning
Um,
on one foot.
I will um, mess with one of the pillows and tell him he can lay down if he wants to take a nap.
Yes, Father. Yes, Father. And he'll go lie on the pillow, and as he kind of like does a little kitten kneading thing on the pillow with his all four of his little wooden limbs, which are pretty much the same. Like his legs and his arms are kind of like marionette style. They're just exactly the same carvings. Um,
Yeah.
but then as he does a little dog turnaround 3 times and settles, he just disappears and fades, and you can feel that warmth on your neck of your fairy tattoo.
That's not weird.
Cool.
Oh,
Whatever.
Very
Just worse
very
things have happened.
normal
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
You sit there thinking for a second about how uh, um, you know this is family, and then as you
Mm-hmm.
think that one of the ghosts just sort of glides through one of the walls, and crosses through the bed like just walking in a line as though the building weren't there, and then glides out through another wall.
I'll say good morning to it as it passes me.
It doesn't seem to notice, but carries on. And you look down, and by the way, had suddenly start for a moment. You're kind of, wait a second, seeing ghosts, and you look down and you realize you're wearing your boot again, um,
It's fine.
like 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 potentially that your son put it on you in your sleep. So you obviously you notice this by looking down and seeing that your leg is a skeleton.
That's gonna happen sometimes.
Yeah,
Once you wake
this
up
is
with a
all
skeleton leg,
entirely normal.
that's just life in the Sunshine Manor.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oogna's
You
snores
hear
kind
like
of sputter and then get a little louder, like as though she was kind of half awake, but gone into deeper sleep now. I'm sure it's like in the wee hours of the morning.
oh yeah, it's middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it was almost middle of the night when you went to bed. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
wee hours of the morning. Um, as you lie down, try to go back to sleep, and hear just to the soothing, distant, mad cackling and howling of Karax somewhere in the shadows, or some other poor lost soul. Who knows?
Something out on the moors. howling.
No, it's in the building. It's
Oh, it's
definitely
in the building. That's great. It's in with us. Lovely.
Perfect.
I like MLIS Revenge going, singing, Tipper Tap singing, I am Narc, I am Narc. And he'll just decide that's a pet name that his father gave him.
Aw.
I am Narc Father.
I need to come up with what it actually means and not the real meaning, so I don't make him feel bad.
He'll sing Tipper Tap, Knicker Narc.
Maybe not that one.
Okay, so yeah, the night passes without further event. Copernicus also, significantly haunted, but soothingly so. It's
Yeah.
just
Huh.
like as you've
A
done
gentle
for
haunting.
decades, as you'd missed
Yeah. Yeah.
the random haunts,
Feels
the
like home.
random.
Beautiful.
So Oogna, you will eventually awaken in your chair, and see Tromlin snoring gently in the bed.
Oogna will do that like crunch, crunch, crunch of someone who slept in a chair all night.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Your-
get down on
your
the
neck
floor
is
and
just
start.
like
Oh yeah. Start quietly doing stretches and a morning workout. Try to limber back up. And if Tromlin's still not up at that point, then she will tiptoe out of the room in search of food.
there's food like stuff that is it just chef? Is that just name is just
Just
chef
chef. Just chef.
for the big lumbering
Yeah,
entity
for
that
the
wears-
the ogre thing,
yeah.
the like patchwork ogre. I kind of
Yeah.
picture him like the World of Warcraft abomination ogres,
Yeah, I
all
was
like
picturing
patched
Yeah.
together from
Yeah.
various corpses.
Yeah. Cool. I'll probably meet you around the breakfast table. I think Pernie is basically trying to get as little of a long rest as like he needs the long rest mechanics, but wants to be up as early as possible so that he is not like behind the ball on Lucretia discovering things without him there to like apologize for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You you don't really awaken. You're just kind of like um, moving in and out of like noting the things around you, um, and so you'll eventually. Oh, Alina, do you
Yes.
know? I keep forgetting what the Gigantify,
Oh, I think it's 30. So we've had like
because there's
3 of
been
those,
like
right?
three, 5
Wow, okay.
over the course of the entire game
So that's
so far.
150.
So I just think
Bump us up.
MLIS Revenge has been bumping
Yeah,
up
those don't auto.
the counter. Yeah, the counter doesn't automatically collect them, which is weird. But yeah, I can see it at the top. MLIS Revenge 150.
Yeah. Cool. I will add that to our tally.
So Copernicus, as you're coming in and out of consciousness all night, in the relatively early hours in the morning, so it's really barely enough to be considered a long rest. You will become aware of Lucretia coming out of the house, and not on the same side of the house. So if the house has one facing that leads towards the gate, a second facing points towards the graveyard where you are, kind of at 90 degrees. And then the backside, which looks out over the moors, has a wide kind of balcony area, like a second story open space. And you see her come out of the house onto that open space, dressed all in like white night shift kind of robes that are like just billowing impossibly. It's like one of those, movie scenes where the white diaphanous night clothes that she is wearing
Yeah.
drift out behind her like a flag like there's some, on a wind that doesn't exist, as she
Yeah.
like moves out.
I feel like
Uh,
there's like one ghost servant who's permanently dedicated to like whenever the impossible winds start
ruffling
up,
whatever
having to
she's wearing.
sweep all the dead leaves that come in, because there's always this like dramatic burst of dead leaves that come when the. Of course, she doesn't open the doors to the
Excellent.
balcony; they just open,
Of
rattled by
course.
wind, and dead leaves come pouring in very cinematically. And there's this ghost that's just constantly like, "Oh, god damn it," sweeping it out.
So you're waiting at the table. Oogna's like shoveling into whatever slop Cook has.
Well, hang on,
Okay,
we're backed up here. This is before you get
cool.
up. So this is
Gotcha.
this is when Copernicus is still out
Out
in
in
the
the yard.
graveyard, and yeah, you'll see. Um, Alina, we rolled over though, didn't we?
We are 97%.
Oh, okay. I thought 100 was what it took to roll it over. Because we gained 150,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah. So then we are rolled over. The inspiration tracker
I think.
has stopped working. It's just
Yep.
it says just percentage sign and there's no bar. So I'm gonna give us some
Hey,
inspirations. But we are
yeah, just
we are
give
rolled
everyone an
over.
inspiration, and then just keep track of where we are.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know why it's not working.
it might not be even supported anymore, right? Like it's an
That's
old
true.
third party
Yeah.
plugin.
Gotta
Um,
find a new one.
so in any case, Copernicus, you see her out there begin some sort of morning ritual to the dawn, because now she's facing to the east, uh, and she's doing
Thanks, Megan.
some witchy stuff.
I'll arcana that.
Sure.
It's a 19.
Yeah, you definitely recognize this as a witch related rite, which of course is a school of magic. Um, and you're not particularly surprised to see Lucretia. You pretty much, I imagine that when you lived here and Lucretia was young, probably uh, also you knew her to practice witchcraft.
Okay.
But what do you wish to do? Are you going to head into the house?
I
Are you going to
think
try and
I think
get
I'll
her
do the
off?
thing where like you make a loud accidental noise in a way that doesn't shock someone or surprise someone, but like lets them know that you're there. Just so that she doesn't feel like Pernie was like spying on her or nothing. And then he'll just give like a little wave from below the tree and see what reaction he gets. It's like a friendly and cautious like, oh hello, good morning. Not a I've been waiting here all night. That kind of
Um,
communicated vibe.
she will, of course, like her head will kind of like move as she hears the noise that you make and glances over,
Yeah.
and then she sort of like her expression returns to sort of the annoyance that it was at last night when she was speaking with you in the dining room, but she doesn't interrupt her. Uh, she doesn't interrupt her a ritual, her rite, and just carries on.
Yeah. I'll give a little wave then as I head into the kitchen. I might even do like mime like, ooh, I'm gonna eat something, even though I'm not. Just
Just rub your belly like yum
I
yum.
definitely eat food.
yeah,
Definitely gonna go eat some food now.
yeah.
That thing that living people do.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, you come in just as Oogna and Tromlin are coming down the stairs
How
and
did
heading to the dining room.
you sleep? Any horrifying visions or nightmares or specters in the night, or relatively solid shut eye?
I slept all right. Tom,
Okay,
you sleep
good.
okay?
I'm glad.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
All right, good. I'm glad the household staff have figured out how to, um, and my family not constantly horrify outsiders. I think it's going to be a project that we're working on if Lucretia allows it.
Yeah, she's real happy to see you.
So happy. Um, I remembered one thing about her, which could help if I need to get her a gift, which is that she's a witch. I'd forgotten that she practiced witchcraft. So, um,
Oh,
I'm going to slowly Yahoo search gifts for witches. My daughter is, and see if I can find find something suitable.
I love
Um,
that you went to Yahoo.
you
yeah,
yes,
yeah. I'm an old man.
yeah.
Alta Vista just isn't working anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open my AOL.
Arcana Online.
Except it's your house, so like Yahoo is just a disembodied hand that goes through the card catalog in
Yeah,
the library.
yeah. It's yeah. I searched on Ask Slimeworth.
Yeah. Pico decided to
Um,
sleep on my arm the second I went to scratch my neck, and now I'm just stuck like this.
yep. Excellent. Perfect.
This is your life now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't you dare disturb. Don't you dare do a disturb.
No.
Okay. So, uh, yeah, Chef is making some kind of thing in there. You can hear clattering and gloopy noises and stirring and his general like kind of noises that he makes. Um, when you come into the dining room, uh, Sextus is basically sitting exactly where he was last night. Um, but there's no sign of Carax. He's just sitting at the head of the table as he was, arms on the arms of the chair, staring straight ahead.
I'll give a polite little wave, but I don't think I want to disturb him. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I think it'll be worth discussing like with the party. So do worry that I am taking all of the party's time and energy and attention here in this visit with my own matters. Is there anything any of you are hoping to achieve in our time here, or concerns that you have that you want to make sure are not forgotten while we turn our attention to helping Lucretia?
I mean, I wouldn't mind just getting to know. I guess she's my great grandmother. I don't know, but I
Yeah,
have a feeling
yeah.
she's not a big fan of that idea.
You know,
Well, she doesn't know who I am yet, does she? Oh, you did tell. You told
no.
her.
I think I told her that you. I don't have not introduced you, but I've told her that you that she would like to get to know you and that you are a fine uh, example of the best our family can be.
Oh
Um,
no,
and oh, in a good way, in a good way.
I just feel
um,
bad for the family.
but so I think that would be wonderful, and I will do my best to make sure that any grudge she fairly bears me, she does not transfer to you. And I think that um, she's always had a level head and a wise mind, and I'm sure she will be able to hold separate my crimes from your being, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you guys probably need some time to catch up as a family. Pernie, this was your house though, right? Like before?
It was when I left. It
Right.
doesn't feel that way anymore, and that's all right. Perhaps the road is my home now. I suppose it has been for
But like
quite a
if it's your
while.
house, you probably got all the books and stuff, right?
Yes, there is. I do have a deep, wonderful library here. So if there's any of the topics we've been discussing, researching that you'd like to do some study with me, I'd be happy to
Yeah,
assist.
yeah. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk to Sal much when we were in with the dwarves, but I don't know if you have anything about ruins or weird stuff like that.
I believe I do. I should certainly have a few tomes of interest for learning a little bit more about that interest of yours. Um, Pernie's realizing that we're. I think he trusts his family, but with like Oogna's rune sword business feels like not a thing to discuss
Yeah.
directly, like or too directly in front of Sextus Nunnius. More like Nunnius, you're busy in this. Anyway, um, yeah, but Pernie's like, yeah, I think that perhaps after once we've arranged for a war council, I think you and I could spend some time in the library.
I mean, I don't want to take you away from your family or anything. I can go and, I guess, look at books or something. I
I
could
think Lucretia
do
does not want
research.
too much of me all at once. I think she would not mind if I was quietly quarantined in the library for a
Hmm.
while as she gets used to um, the shock of seeing me so suddenly. Yeah, but I thought note until basically like well, I'm not sure what how the day is going to look like if the war council kind of thing if because I know that she's probably already planning some kind of council, but if she's got a date for something already, if like I can suggest that we have a meeting to talk about it whenever it makes sense for her and whenever fits, that doesn't fit in the day, I think doing some time in the library would make a lot of sense.
So, speaking of the library, you were just talking about relation to Lucretia. Who has the book of Tromlin's genealogy that he stole from his father?
I think
I
he gave
believe I
it
gave
back
it
to me.
to my father, Pernie.
Yeah. I might have given it back to him again, but I can't remember. It's one of us. I'm happy to have it if he doesn't.
Just because I'm wondering, Tromlin, if you would check out the book, just wondering where Lucretia fits into it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, because you will find that she's not listed at all. So
Oh,
I'll
really?
just remind you, yeah, I'll remind you of what where Pernie is actually listed. Um, so obviously your Boltree relatives are well listed in great detail, which you're not as interested in, um, but claiming lineage both from the Boltree line and from the Langarians. Um, but on Cromlin's mother's side, which is the part that you are in, your mother, Marion Sunshine, originally, or Nee Sunshine, Marion Boltree Nee Sunshine, um, is the daughter of course, Captain Thaddeus Sunshine, who you met
Oh,
in Ravenfell at the grand ball.
Uncle Cannons.
Um,
Yeah.
or sorry, he's his son. You met his son, Darius,
Ah,
Captain Darius Sunshine. Um, so you basically met your uncle.
Uncle. Yeah.
Um, so she was the daughter of Captain Thaddeus Sunshine, father of Captain Darius, and Larissa Malgain of the Malgains of the Greensward. But Captain Thaddeus's line going back in the book is somewhat confused. It's not in great detail. And it doesn't go as far back as would be Lucretia. Instead, there's a line with a question mark indicating that he's either the son or grandson of someone called Polonius Sunshine, who is also the father of Albinia Sunshine, who
yeah,
you also met because she's the one who
at the
runs the
school.
Sunshine School of School for Peculiar Youngsters. Um, and then there is another question mark connection to a generation or two before Polonius that branches off to the Luzidia, which is an Ibetian variation of the name Sunshine. And that genealogy notes the maestro Vittorio Luzidia of Karsh, who, of course, you have also met, advisor to the king and ally of the Strax. His son, Don Emilio, is a wealthy merchant operating out of Mudhollow, and Copernicus is listed, again with a question mark, as a cousin of the maestro. Um, and it says uh, 3, 4, 5. Um, and so like Copernicus Sunshine being listed as like the third, the fourth, or the fifth um, descendant of lords of Morwindle. Um, and so you presume that as far as the genealogy is concerned, Copernicus the fifth or whatever the genealogists think this Copernicus is a descendant of Copernicus the fourth or Copernicus the third, etc. But obviously, you know that's all the same Copernicus. Um, but there's nothing listed before Copernicus, but also there's no sort of like um, where does Copernicus uh, other descendants come in. So there's the line with all the question marks that leads from Copernicus through to Marion Sunshine, who is your mother. But there's no mention of Lucretia.
That's
What did I just hear?
right.
Did I just get a message?
If I see Tromlin going through the lineage, I will take a non-obtrusive, like I'll make noise as I come up, so it's not a surprise. Just like a peek over her shoulder to see what he's looking at.
I'm just trying to find where Lucretia is, but she's not showing up in the chart.
I'll history that.
Aha. Hang on a
Right,
second, as Alina will have to do some maneuvering because Morgan has rejoined.
Yay.
you're muted,
But
Alina.
while Alina,
I think so. I'm just hey Lord.
Oh,
Hey Raven. I'm just going to adjust everything over here.
I'm very amused that the only part of Raven's screen that we can see
It's
is
just the fetid.
the animated fetid
Dancing fetid.
with a fairy behind him. Dancing stoned fetid because there's a fairy
Amazing.
behind him. Excellent. Okay. So while you're fixing up, Copernicus, you were making a history check, you said?
yeah, I'm gonna take a gander and see if I can understand why the tree is designated the way it is.
I mean, your history check is so good, and that's such a straightforward thing. I don't even think. Just go ahead and roll a die and tell me if it's anything other than a 1.
It's a nat 20.
That's the
Hey.
opposite of a 1.
Yeah.
That's
Now I
great.
got to figure out what can I possibly give you to make that worth it, or is it a wasted 20? So obviously, Lucretia isn't known, right? There's a whole bunch of gaps, right, in this line. So, and in many cases, it's you are being given credit for being your own descendant
Right.
until it reaches
You're your own grandpa.
until it reaches the
I was thinking the
more
exact
recent.
song.
Yeah.
Yep. Until it reaches the more recent branch off to the Lucidias. And then like somewhere in there's like a jump to Polonius and a jump to and then you're like, not only are you listed in the tree, there's like you're also listed as a branch, right? So the Copernicus, the 5th or 4th that would be you now to these genealogists are thought to be a cousin of the Lucia line, because you couldn't possibly be the same Copernicus the 3rd that would be way up
Right.
in the main line, right? So that's where it gets all confused, because there's no sort of like, obviously if Copernicus the 1st or whoever that is, the original Copernicus, and they're still confused about how many Copernicus numbers there are, your daughter isn't going to be listed.
Yeah, the Wikipedia editor in charge of the disambiguation page for Copernicus Sunshine is just like so frustrated and confused.
Just gave up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lucretia is simply not listed because there's no sort of, well, for one thing, you're not sure that she goes by Lucretia Sunshine.
Oh,
Right.
right.
You have yet to hear her be introduced in any way as other than by the one individual at the town hall who said the name Sunshine, but you're not sure referring to whom. So
I think there's
so yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think there is a chance that like every 40 years or so, Pernie swings by the like genealogy office with like a fake mustache on, and pretends to be another Copernicus Sunshine, just to like stay ahead of the of people figuring things out. I think it's like a thing that like a little timer he sets every 40 years or something to do, or
Yep.
roughly 20 to 40 years.
And actually,
Or
I'm
like
going to
just
give you. Yeah, I'm going to give you some more information just because you rolled that nat 20. I was just trying to think of what else I would give you. But I think I'm going to say also, it occurs to you that Lucretia is known locally, most likely, as like, she's been here for like since you left. She's
Oh,
Yeah.
known as this ancient witch.
Yeah.
right.
So as an ancient witch, she can't possibly be,
Yeah.
within this family tree of people who are extant, and
Yeah.
or unless she fits somewhere in the murky depths of time. But
Oogna just assumes that
genealogists
humans are
wouldn't
like
try.
elves. They just live for like 300-400 years. This family's normal.
Yeah, Ugna hasn't noticed. Um, but now I now have an opportunity to do a thing I was going to do. Now that Morgan has joined us. Um, so just to catch you up, Raven, at the end of the ritual last night, with the restoration of Barb's spirit, um, I said that Fetid suddenly came down off of fairy drugs and was like, "All oh, I'm covered in bugs. I'm covered in bugs," and ran off into the night. And you went after him because you were like, "Oh, this is my fault. Sorry. Let me go deal with this." Um, and you got him settled down, but basically he just went and crawled up uh, with Ollie outside and curled up
Mm-hmm.
next to Ollie, and the two of them went to sleep. And then you went back to your room, which by the time you got back there, um, Tromlin and Ugna had gone to bed in the master bedroom, and
Mm-hmm.
Copernicus was uh, sleeping, quote unquote, peacefully in the
Mm-hmm.
mausoleum with the tree.
Yeah.
So you just went back to the other room that you had been sharing with Fetid, but now you have it all to yourself. And you went to sleep, and during the night, you
Took too
had a
many
vision. And
edibles.
I will now reveal that the poll was about the subject of your vision.
Oh
Oh, okay.
no.
So,
Uh, I am enthusiastic about this and not afraid at all.
of course not. So, you, in your vision, see uh, a haggard orc woman, uh, middle-aged orc, swathed in travel-stained cloak and rags with a hood, um, fighting against storm winds. You see this almost like a montage. You see flashes. Basically, your entire dream is like a storm,
Mm.
which is very your speed, right? As though you were yourself within the heart of your own storm sphere. And through glimpses of the storm, it's almost as though lightning flashes light up individual scenes. And you see a storm at sea. You see a sea tossed ship, and the haggard orc woman is standing in the prow with her knuckles white as she grasps the rail. Um, but the thing that catches your eye is the ornate hilt of a sword that she wears on her back, a huge, huge sword. And you know you've seen that hilt
Mm-hmm.
because in passing, you have seen the broken sword that Oogna keeps hidden. Because I believe Oogna has brought it out
Yeah,
when you've
when
been
when
around.
we adopted you into the group, we told you about the rune sword,
Yeah.
and we're like, don't tell this about to anybody. It's high secret,
Mm-hmm.
but I got this weird sword.
Yeah, it's a high secret that Oogna keeps talking about in front of people and then saying, "Don't tell anybody."
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how I keep
And you are one of
secrets.
those people. Just make sure everyone you tell has been told not to tell anyone, and it's great. Um, and in another flash, you see a barren, blasted landscape of black rock, crumbling hills, and very little vegetation, and a lathered, exhausted horse bearing this woman as she rides. In another vision, you see her trudging as part of a caravan train through a snowy, windswept pass, carrying a half-frozen villager as they seemingly uh, flee in exile somewhere. Um, and you just keep seeing these flashes of like long, long travels in relatively inhospitable places. Uh, a few times you see flashes of places you know. There's a flash of coming over a hill and seeing the city of Dwimmerdell, the weird twisted spires of Dwimmerdell. There's a flash where you recognize the sun-baked coasts of Ibiza. Um, there's one flash where you recognize by description only a mountain face carved like a terrifying visage of a dragon that you know to be the mountain overlooking uh, Zareshi city of the Dragonborn. But eventually, you see high, craggy black mountains, and again a lightning storm as this orc lady alone is passing through these mountains, through the high places, seeking some kind of trail. And you see her confronting a giant, a stone giant of the mountains, or a mountain giant, more likely, by its size. Um, with whom she fights. You see flashes of her stabbing at this giant with the rune sword. And then you see her entering some kind of stone passageway high in the mountain. There's a door that has a strange diamond shaped keyhole like thing that she thrusts the sword into, and the door swings open ominously. And then you see her fighting monsters deep within the earth. You see her fighting giant spiders, impossibly big giant spiders, bigger than the ones you've heard of in the wildwoods in the north. Um, and finally, you see her in some sort of great chamber. Uh, and this chamber has bizarre, uh, almost rifts in rents in this plane through which great black tentacles are writhing, uh, almost like I mean, you've seen many a dimension door that you have the power to create. It's almost like these are all like permanent portals that this some things or single thing are reaching through. Occasionally, instead of a tentacle, it's a giant eye on a stalk. Um, and all the eyes are turned towards this orc woman as she hacks her way through the forest of tentacles to a great plinth at the center, above which is hovering a huge orb, like a crystal, completely filled with moving, flashing flames. Um, and she stands before this, girds herself, gets herself psyched up and ready. With a great sigh, she takes the sword and she attacks and shatters. Just as all the tentacles are desperately throwing towards her to trump her, she shatters the orb with the sword. And you see the sword splinter as it strikes the orb. Um, but then there is just a storm of flame and energy is unleashed from this broken orb that flash and swirl, and you see all of these black tentacles and eye stalks shrivel and uh, flee back or pull back through all the many little portals which close, fleeing the fire. And you hear the shrieking of this otherworldly pain of whatever this thing or things are, uh, almost enough to drive you insane. And you see the orc woman collapse from the noise and the storm of it. And then the storm whirls around her until it bursts out of the mountain. The ceiling cracks and collapses, and the dark night sky is visible throughout. And the woman throws herself up against the plinth as the stones fall down, desperately trying to survive the cave in. And the energy that has been released bursts further, not out first from the orb into the chamber, and then out of the chamber, out of the mountain. And it all sweeps in a stream away in one direction, from into the night sky, um, and then it all goes quiet, and eventually move. It's that scene from the Blues Brothers after the building collapses, where the bricks all move and they climb out of it, um, and the orc woman claws her way, broken sword in hand, out of the stones, and climbs up to the precipice of this ruined uh, cavern as the mountain continues to rumble beneath her. And she looks out, and the last thing you see as she looks away, far away south from this impossibly high mountain, you can see the entire horizon to the south lit up like flames, like a horizon row. And she's looking out over the sea. You can see ocean. This mountain is like on the edge of land, and she's looking out over the sea, and the entire horizon is like unto a row of volcanoes. Hear her whisper, um, "Oh no, what have I done?"
Uh-oh.
And then that
Uh-oh.
vision starts to fade, and then you see a final element of the vision. You see that orc woman again, um, maybe a little older, certainly more careworn, um, certainly more uh, injured and battered. Um, again, on a ship, a very small ship to be going out onto the ocean, a single-masted little fishing boat. Um, and you see that ship sailing away towards the south, um, and you see the look of determination on her face. She no longer seems to have the sword on her back. And that's the last thing you see before you wake up.
Hmm. There seems to be a section of the map here that's on fire at the bottom that I'm looking at.
Are you pulling the map up?
I have the
Are you
map,
pulling the map up?
and if there's a big island or a big somewhere with a big tall mountain, that kind of looks like Elvenhome.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somewhere in Zaru,
Although
but who
I'll
knows?
remind the group because it's been a long time. I'll
Yeah,
remind the
Mhm.
group because it's been such a long time. Um, there was once a vision that Glorpa had of Oogna's mother in the mountains fighting a giant that she thought was in Loal.
that's true. Waktal, the Orcish homeland,
Yeah, or one of the
one of a
a
few.
place where there's lots of orcs.
Yeah,
Not the Orcish homeland, but a place where there's a lot of orcs. There's a lot of dwarves there too, and others.
and that this is Nelmar Zesh, where we know she was at one point.
Yep. So, Morgan,
Hmm.
Mhm.
you awake from having had this vision, um, and you can smell the smells of cooked breakfast and hear voices downstairs.
Morgan's gonna gear up and force herself
And
into
thank,
some emotional maturity.
oof,
rough, rough start to the day.
Yeah. Um
all the little reflections and see at the edge of your vision are all very very somber, kind of glancing at each other like, ugh.
it doesn't have to all be like that, she says, and then she'll grab another couple of edibles and take a swig of wine
Some
and
stabilization.
is gonna go out and look for Oogna. And
Well,
because she doesn't think there should be something said to
well,
Oogna.
when you
Yeah.
go downstairs, you find in the great dining hall,
Mhm.
Oogna and Tromlin, as well as are sitting at the table. The ancient mummy Sextus Verus is sitting at the head of the table, just staring. He doesn't seem to have noticed anything that's been going on around him. But as you come down, Copernicus as well is in there, just chatting with the other two.
Mm.
He has placed
Um
Barb's bucket on the table at at one of the places.
Were they like cousins, or are they like adopted cousins?
Oh yeah, probably got
Yeah.
the book out on the
Yeah,
table.
as I'm like trying to be
genealogy
like, huh.
book as
Yeah.
as
Things get a little
Tromlin
bit weird around
and
here.
Copernicus are looking.
I just point at the Pernie entry.
Yeah, don't think about it too much. Don't worry about it too much. It's boring. All the details are boring here.
Morgan's just gonna give a little eyebrow raise at Pernie, saying, "Really, man? Boring, huh?"
Yeah.
Don't ever
Sextus
play
will sort
poker.
of like rouse himself and glance over and tut and say, so inaccurate.
Yeah, the genealogists, they do their best, but uh obviously someone keeps visiting their office every 20 to 40 years and giving confusing information in a mustache. So, none of us need to think about this ever again.
How do you get information in a mustache?
Well, if you mustache, the answer is you curl it into a little cursive shape.
Ooh.
It spells out a word.
Hmm.
But how did you sleep, Morgan? Did you sleep well, or were you haunted by any of my relatives?
No, I think they got the message.
Good.
Yeah, I just was hoping that we could chat a bit and kind of gives an awkward look at the non-party member.
Oh yes, of course. Well, Oogna and I were going to go to the library for a while and do some research. So perhaps we can
Yeah,
pick
maybe
up the
we should do that
conversation
right
there.
now.
Okay,
Cool.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Morgan's
members,
gonna
because like the
Yeah.
servants are here too.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had breakfast
And
yet, right? We're
Morgan's
still waiting
gonna
on food.
No, by now you've all had like bowls of weird green gruel
Okay, cool.
placed in front of you, um, which probably prompted Tromlin to like sneak into the kitchen and make some adjustments.
We call it
Uh,
silent green, and it's not made of people. Don't even think about it.
Morgan's just
Right.
gonna go over to Tromlin and very lightly grab his hand and be like, maybe we need like some comfort food if we've got any around.
I'll see what I can do. It depends on what they have. If nothing else, I can go over to town and pick something up.
If it's not on hand, let's just go chat. And she'll start walking over to the library. Ooh.
When we get to the library, I'll do a sweep with the. I can't remember if it's me or Charmlin right now who has the Gem of True Sight, but I think we should do a sweep and just check for
Yeah.
ghosts that we'll have to shoo out, and just keep an eye on things as we have this conversation to make sure that it's truly
Traps.
private. Yeah.
Yeah, you would know there's probably a couple. There's at least one ghost that is sort of serves as a librarian who kind of keeps things from getting too out of hand with like dust and cobwebs. Um, and then there's like the creepy hand in the shadows that pokes out every once in a while, which could be anywhere. But it doesn't speak or anything, so it's kind of hard to know if it can even hear things.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, it keeps doing the symbol with no
Yeah.
lips to go in
Yeah,
front of, so I assume it can
I'm like,
sort of hear.
I think of it as a druge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some vision dreams last night. It was a lot of information. A lot of information about who I'm quite certain is Una's mom.
What? Oogna had sort of wandered off to kind of keep distance, and is like carefully not looking at Morgan this morning, but has gone off to look
Mhm.
at a book and is like thumbing through it like she's reading it, but it's very obvious she's not. But when
It's
you
upside down.
mention her mom, her head will like snap up and she'll look directly at you and be like, "What?"
Morgan's gonna give Ugna some space to feel more comfortable to come closer by taking out some scrolls, flipping them over, and drawing out some of the things that she sees, and showing some diagrams as well as using minor illusion and prestidigitation to demonstrate some of the stuff, and is going to describe what she saw within her vision. And yeah, I I don't know the time of things, but it does seem like uh what she thought was what released these burning islands. Um and
Huh.
I'm not sure. It seemed like she might be in this area. She was looking to the south. But yeah, that's what I dreamt of last night.
Huh. See, Sal was never really up on what exactly the big quest was that took her away. He just said it was real important because otherwise she wouldn't have left me behind. But all he knew that was she had to travel because it was important, and then she just never came back.
Oh, hang on a second.
Hmm?
I think the stream might be frozen here.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
hmm.
Oh, hang on. MLIS Revenge says it is frozen from their end, but now I suddenly see it again. Is it all good?
Was just hung up for a second.
I think it just hung up for a
Okay,
second.
cool. I can.
Just
I
weird
think I can
lag
see us
thing.
moving. Yeah.
Carry on. I'm gonna keeping an eye on it. Yep. I'm using Fedid's animation as a just gonna keep an eye on it. Now I know.
Are we moving?
Yeah, he's the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
The kobold in the coal mine.
Yeah.
Pernie, what do you know
Okay,
about the
I didn't
burning
think
isles?
consistency.
Like, all I know is that they're real south.
I'll
And,
history
like, on
check.
fire or something?
I know. Yeah, I'd like to history check the Burning Isles, but also just everything that was shown in the vision, just to see if
Yeah.
I can triangulate
Well, trying to make,
when,
like, a
where,
little,
why, what was going on.
Sure. I
like
mean,
a
you're in
little
a
route
library.
of her
You can pull
journey.
up a map.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alina, why don't you pull the map up?
Pull up a map, you
Pull up that full world map that
this
you
whole
had up a
map
second
going
ago.
on.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like she was, you said Ibisha? Nelmar Zesh. Maybe down on the
She's been, yeah,
Lochtal.
through Ibisha, Dormerdel, Nelmardash, Zesh. You believe from Glora's a while back that she was in Lochtal. So Copernicus, how's let's hear that history roll. I want to see how far this one goes.
Guidance did it.
that is a 19, but can I get advantage from access to my library?
Sure.
A little D4.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, thank
Throw
you.
some guidance on there.
Okay, so it's 19. That's the winner, and then I'm adding the D4. So 21.
Okay. So first of all, what do you know about the Burning Isles? So first of all, of course, as everyone knows, it colder in the world the further north you go, and it gets hotter the further south you go. Right? Because that's just how it works, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Cold
there's
rises and
certainly
heat sinks.
yeah, as or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go too far in any given direction, eventually you either run into it's so cold everything freezes, it's absolute zero. If you go too far the other way, everything boils or melts. And if you go east or west, you just eventually probably fall off the edge of the world. That's most likely how that works, as everybody knows. So the Burning Isles in the south are a band of volcanic islands that are kind of like the everlasting ice to the north. You don't want to go too far south, or you'll reach everlasting fire, right? Obviously. Um, so the Burning Isles have always been volcanic. In any case, but from the description you get from Morgan of like fire over all the sky. That sounds like an eruption. Which, of course, you've seen before. You've been in the jungles of Zaru, in the south coast, um, uh, when there is an eruption on one of the burning isles where it lights up the night sky in a certain part of the sky. But this whole lighting up the whole horizon sounds kind of apocalyptic. Um, you're not sure that you've ever heard of eruptions across all of the burning isles simultaneously. That seems
Oh no, the whole bottom
concerning.
of the world exploded.
And certainly, if that happened like a long time ago, you would have heard about it by now. So if that happened recently, you question marks? Hard to
Right.
know. You do know that
Or
there is currently war threatening
Can I
Elvenholm.
Yeah.
can I
You
make
also sorry.
can I make a roll, like maybe a fashion roll? Um, if I recognize like the time, the visual
see.
references on what she wears, or any of the like those
Yeah.
other sort of things that
she
I
was
would.
wearing
You're
bell-bottom
assuming.
I
armor,
would.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would give a
she's
fuck
wearing
about.
bell-bottom armor.
Yeah.
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 Make a history check.
It's a really good idea.
You're not great at that, but you can always
15 on the dice. I can't remember what I got as a bonus.
you have no bonus, but you can
Okay.
add a D4 if you want to
And
guidance
I-
yourself.
Yeah.
Give you an aid because I know what my mom dressed like.
Hmm.
Sure, you can roll again, see if you break 15.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't have an E4 ready. Hold on.
Because I imagine that I'd actually know her armor pretty well. Sal must have made it. And I
Yep.
could like see sort of what his maker's mark was like. Oh, that he hasn't used that technique in a while. That's old armor.
18 plus 3, so
Nice.
21.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Nice. So, you recognize that your montage were fairly broadly separated by time.
Right.
You can't say for certain because she's not like dressing quote unquote fashionably. Like she's dressing in like at points in whatever rags are available, it seems. But just by virtue of the damage to her armor and herself and the age lines on her face and other clues in the backgrounds of various things, you think that entire montage was over the course of decades.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
So you're not sure when
don't-
it ends. You just know that it goes back quite a ways.
So it may not have happened yet. It's possible it's a future vision.
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
Except, what's
And while you got that
what's
map
the last
open
time
there.
we see the sword?
Sorry, I'll get you to say that again in a second, Copernicus. But Alina, put the hand on the map just
Yep.
over Lake Morwindle so that the audience has some context for where we are
Right up
in the
here.
Northlands. You see the little lake?
Right here.
I'm just watching because I can't see what you're doing. I'm watching the.
Mhm.
I'm just fondling the lake.
You got it.
There we go.
Yep, you got it. You got it.
Hmm.
Okay.
We're a long way from there.
So sorry. Can you say again, Copernicus? What did you say there?
Oh, I was saying, at what point? So Oogna now has the sword or a piece of the sword.
I have
Um,
both halves.
Both have.
You
So
have
at
two.
what point?
There's one piece missing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. You have
But
the hilt shard and you have the end piece, and there's a piece missing because it was one of the visions that allowed Copernicus to figure out what more of the runes were that were
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
Pieces.
Which is how you were able to find out its name.
Yeah. And so then,
Mhm.
where in the montage does the sword appear and then not appear?
The sword was in the montage from the beginning
Mhm.
until the final scene.
So in the
the
final
sword
scene,
was
the first time we don't see it.
the only time. So the sword is in the montage all the way up until the destruction of the mountain.
And even then,
And
she
then the
had the
final
pieces as she
scene,
climbed out, right?
yeah, she probably didn't have them in hand, but like
Right.
she shattered the sword on the sphere, and then she climbed out and said, "Oh, what have I done?" And then the final scene after that was her sailing on a boat and did not have the sword.
So I just want to check that I'm right to be confused. That it seems like this can't have happened yet because we would know about it. But so she has a
Except,
sword in the future, which we have the sword now, so she'd have to get it back from us to make that come true.
No, she doesn't have
Um,
it. She
she may have.
destroyed the orb,
Yeah.
and then she no longer has it. And it seems like
Yeah,
that's when.
Yeah. Lane, how long ago did Sal receive the sword? Because he said it was a package that arrived
just
recently.
just before he gave it to you.
Yeah. So like
So
two
it has
months ago
only
in game
been,
time?
yeah, the entire game has only been like a couple of months.
Yeah. I'd be
Um,
like, hey Pernie, how long would it take to mail something from, I don't know, really far south?
Well, with my cousin, the Maestro, joining forces with Don Garveldo for their new trademark shipping service, why, you can go top of the continent to the bottom in a mere 7 days. However, for most delivery services, I imagine it would be, and I give a reasonable answer, having traveled this a
so
lot.
Yeah.
you would probably say it depends on how much money you have.
Yeah.
Because if you're sending it by relatively cheaply by a relatively mundane means, it would be by ship most likely. It would take some time. But if you wished to send it, if you had the means, you could send it magically quite quickly. And in fact, you had access to some sort of like teleportation circle. In fact, that was partly the purpose of the teleportation circle you first encountered, the one in Ibiza. Remember, it was a
Oh, that's
warehouse that
right.
you went from Ibiza to Dwimmerdell. That was basically a shipping center.
Right. We were helping them
Um,
load stuff on
so it
to the runes.
so it could be like almost instant. Like it could be fairly quick, depending on how one went about it, whether one had access to magic or not.
Yeah.
Um, I will say though, Copernicus, you're riding on some pretty good Arcana rolls. Um, there could be some symbology here. Like the vision doesn't necessarily mean it's not necessarily going to be of everything that literally happened in a vision.
Right.
So the sphere of energy flying to the south and then the whole night sky lighting up, maybe to some degree uh, symbolic
Right.
of like things that are happening or are going to happen, or there's a process occurring.
Okay.
Not necessarily like everything simultaneously erupted immediately. But I will remind you also of Glorpa's first big vision, right? Storms in the north, right?
Yeah.
The black clouds in the east building,
Fire in the south.
the lightning in the west, and or sorry, I might have those two backwards. I don't have it in front of me, and then the flames to the south.
I thought it was sandstorms to the east, black clouds to the west, and fire to the south.
Right, correct.
And then
Yeah,
there was a big
and
tower in the
wild
center
storms in the
somewhere.
north.
Yeah.
Yes, somewhere maybe near Nel Marzesh.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yep.
Okay. Well, what? How do we feel about this news? Do
I
we think this
mean,
is a vision of something that has not come to pass, that could pass, that could have passed, was avoided?
Morgan's just stuffing her face with pancakes and bacon while you guys discuss.
yeah. It sounds
Out
like
of your purse, the cold leftovers from the
nice.
from the ferry diner.
I mean, at least it's maybe confirmation that she's alive, or was long enough to send the sword to Sal. And that was pretty recent. Like that wasn't long ago.
I definitely take that as good news. Well,
We know, and Oogna will take out the handle and take a look at it and be like, "This was Rakumbar, the Doombreaker, which means that whatever she was fighting was Doom." You said there was like tentacles and
It
stuff
would
coming from
follow.
somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't recognize the fire tentacle orb creature that
Oh,
she
okay. Yeah,
broke.
you described that as well. Copernicus, give me another
Arcana.
Arcana check.
What
This is
what
right
is
up your
black
alley.
tentacles coming from another plane mean?
It's a nat 1, so I will spend an
Oh
inspiration.
no!
Take it off.
Okay.
I want
Speaking of inspiration, Zelina, they just rolled over again.
Oh hey, thank y'all. I'm going to give everyone but Copernicus one.
can I Arcana?
I think for this one, I don't think I would give this roll to anyone but
The
Copernicus.
demon fucker.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a 21.
Nice. That's a much better than one.
So it
Back
reminds
in
you a lot.
1979.
It reminds you a lot of a spell you have.
Everard's black tentacles.
So
Mm-hmm.
Sungraver Demon.
yeah, what do you have there for no, not Summon Greater Demon, Evard's Black Tentacles. What's your roll again? Sorry.
21.
So that's not high enough to get all of the information potentially available here, but you do know that this is a spell that taps into another place.
Mhm.
I'll remind y'all that in our setting, we've grouped the kinds of sentient beings that are, or mortal sentient beings that are mortal creatures in the world, into the groups that include the human kin or mankin or whatever you want to call them, the fey kin, the stone kin, the dragon kin, the beast kin, the goblin kin, and the other kin. And other kin refers to beings from other planes. And of course, we do this because otherwise Dungeons and Dragons doesn't make any sense, because everyone should be screaming constantly at everything they see as all of these weird beings that they never see before are showing up constantly. So yeah, you know that there is another place, some type of like far plane or lower plane or whatever you want to call it, that is tapped into by that spell. And this sounds like a much greater, or maybe one might say worse, version of tapping into that place. Or maybe the that place coming through into this place.
Right.
Seems
Okay.
bad.
And if you rolled higher, you might, if you did some research, you might be able to say even more
Yeah.
about what that place is, or what those beings or being were.
Yeah. Okay.
But that might
Well,
require a little research.
I'll say that I believe it is not an entity from this realm, and it's summoned from a place similar to the place that sometimes I summon things from. But it's not exactly my jam. But I think I could learn more about it. I've got plenty of books on summoning here in the library, a whole section on summoning actually. Um, so we'll poke around, and Oogna, perhaps we can do some research together on anything I have on rune magic, anything I have on the prophesied tower, and anything else I have on just related prophecies to any of the things that we've been learning about. Perhaps
Yeah.
perhaps we'll
Um,
rustle up some clues.
can we send a message to Sal just to check in on him? Like, I know you do the brain thing.
Yeah. I can't, but perhaps Lucretia can assist me, or one of my cousins, I'm sure, will be able to.
Remember where Sal is, right?
Yeah, he's in Rockspire.
Yep. He was rescued by you guys and
Yeah.
then taken
Yeah.
away by Hollis.
Yeah, I assume that I can get someone to do a message sending thing.
We'll craft him
to
a
You could
sending.
get something like that. But as you're discussing this, the door of the library bangs open, and in sweeps black and red voluminous robes that contain Lucretia Sunshine,
I
as she.
immediately stuff the sword back into my shirt or something.
Yeah.
Just hold it behind my
Just
back.
again, just imagine like just sweeping red hair and billowing uh, um, uh, robes and skirts, uh, just everywhere she goes.
Daughter, how was your rest and how are your morning rituals?
Father, what do you know of this?
Know of what?
She narrows her eyes at you and just does like she like leans in like she's just staring into your brain,
Yeah.
like just a straight up like, oh, you
Can
fuck with
I?
me. Are you
No,
being
I
deceptive?
genuinely don't know unless it's like Barb's passing, which I think she already kind of had figured out, and then I'm assuming the memorial tree explained the rest of it, which I do want to talk to her about,
Okay.
but definitely wasn't trying to hide it.
Roll me a deception anyway, just because you were just discussing this stuff
Okay.
that you don't want people to know about,
Right.
and like
Can
Oogna
I
literally just stuffed a rune
That's
sword in
true.
her shirt,
can I roll the
and
distracting
Lucretia's suspicious.
lane? Can I roll a bend and snap to distract her?
You can try.
All right.
You know what? I'll use that to give advantage to Copernicus on this deception.
Yeah,
check.
Morgan's like leaning over heavily on the table while they were looking at the map and just does like a nice.
Are you
She
like,
comes in and she
are you
just sees
hitting?
Seder
You're
ass.
hitting on Copernicus's daughter.
Yeah, obviously.
Pernie
I
is
see.
honestly
I'd
not
love to roll
at
just so I can see how well I
Yeah.
do, but if you just want to make it advantage,
You can give me a
that's fine.
charisma check if you want to just sort of establish
Hell yeah.
how well did this go. So just a straight up d20 plus your charisma bonus of 5.
That's
Oof.
a
No big
fuck
deal.
you on my dice. Hold on, let me take a
Uh-oh.
picture.
That's a 1.
That's a
Oh.
critical success, actually.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
okay. The opposite.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you say that's a fuck you on my dice, usually I think of the dice saying fuck you.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no no! I'm gonna
Fuck me
post
is
it
that
in
one.
general. Yeah, fuck me is not one. Fuck you
Right.
is a critical success.
Gotcha.
I forgot you had those dice.
How do you
You make
spell
it-
Lucretia?
So you'll make a good
I think it's
impression.
Lucretia.
Correct. How did you roll in the deception check with your advantage?
Thanks to this flirty honey, I got a dirty 20.
Ooh.
Okay. That ain't going to cut it.
Uh-oh.
I have 19 on the die,
Oof.
and she definitely has more insight
Oof.
Yeah.
to
Right.
having a significant wisdom. But like, so there's the narrowing the eyes as she like bores into your skull, followed by like a very notable eyes dart over to the cleavage or whatever else is going on over there, up and down, then back to boring into your skull. Um, and I like I like that Raven has like zoomed in on the
Yes.
icon. And but then she's like, what are you hiding, old man? What do you know of this new threat?
Oh, we've been battling one of its tendrils elsewhere in the world ourselves a couple times already. This is you can tell the story here now and talking in the library if you think it'd be better to gather counsel and discuss. I truly do believe that for all the ill will I have earned that you'll be interested to hear what we share and perhaps even grateful for a glimpse of the bigger picture of what we're all battling against here. Does the name Necrogog mean anything to you?
That gets you an eyebrow arch. As she looks around between you all, just suspiciously in general. I would like
I can't
everyone
meet
to
her
roll
eye.
deception.
I can't meet her eyes.
Yeah, I'd like
Just,
everyone
like,
to roll deception.
Staring at the ceiling. 10.
Deception, you said?
Yeah, I'll roll this as a separate insight from her, so that I'm not going off of her previous roll. So total totals.
10.
Yeah, her eyes linger
20
on Oogna's.
24.
Oogna literally rolls her eyes back and whistles.
Yep.
I got a 24.
Yeah, you're good.
Same. I actually tied with Raven.
Nice. And Copernicus, I missed yours.
I'm rolling another round.
Yeah. This is a different. This is a. Suddenly, she looks at all of you because she thinks you're hiding something.
All right.
I'm definitely not hiding
22.
things.
Yep. The only person she beat was Oogna, on that one.
Okay.
And she kind of she looks suspiciously at each of you, lingering for a while on Oogna, probably still lingering for a while on Morgan, but for other reasons. And
Yep.
then
I think Pernie will try and say, my companions and I do keep some of our own counsel. There are some parts of their story that it would not be fit for me to share. But we come here harboring no secret agenda, no secrets that would surprise, dismay, or otherwise undermine you. I swear this to you, my daughter. I swear this on your mother's tree. And then I wait to see if she noticed. Has already started to understand things.
her face goes impassive as she looks at you. I'm trying to decide what you should roll. You're trying to really be
persuasion.
sincere here.
Yeah.
Roll persuasion
With the
as
guidance.
you try to be really. Yeah, and this will be a very. Tell me what you get without the guidance, because remember, guidance is going to be obvious.
Okay, I'll put that aside.
Can I also help him spin a story? To give him.
I mean,
I'll silent spell a guidance. I'll spend the sorcery point.
I'll let you do that. Yeah, spend the sorcery point on it. Yeah. So you get the guidance bonus. If so, Tromlin's going to chime in here to try to add to this sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
What are you kind of doing exactly, just so I can determine if I'm going to give advantage?
I will say there. I will basically speak to her. Also start telling her the situation is this: we just came from Ravenfall, and I will give her why we ended up here. I'll tell her, lay it all out.
You start talking about the wizard Gracchus and the trying to take the power of the Frostworm of the North.
Yes.
There is something going on at 4 parts of the world. Okay, go ahead and roll me your persuasion, Copernicus. Roll it with advantage.
Yay.
Thank goodness.
And you'll have your bonus guidance.
Yeah.
I just love imagining Pernie in an Oodie.
Nat 20!
Oh!
Okay.
You are being
I had
so
4
sincere.
rolls. That was some clutch. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a 21 total.
26 with my. Oh no, I think I have more than that even.
You have more than that, but she's got a 21 total, and you don't even have your guidance on there, so don't worry about it.
29 with guidance.
So she will just look directly into your eyes, trying to read the lie. And as Tromlin is talking about, hey, this is what we think something's going on. We've had vision about 4 great storms, bad things. There's a dark wizard in the north, something called the Necrogog in the west. We think something's going on out here, out east. And as soon as you get to that point, she will cut you off and holding up a hand and say, "Follow." And she'll just turn on her heel in a sweep of robe that would fill the room as she exits to the door. You're so
Where are all these leaves
how does she do that? How does she do that? And she will lead you all, and I'm going to do this quickly because we have to end pretty quick here. It's just so the audience knows we're doing a short session here, but I'm going to set up things for after Christmas. And you follow her up. She goes up to the tower, to the central tall part. Everyone's seen pictures of the Addams family house. There's always this big bower top level, and she leads up there, and there's a little balcony there, and she leads you to the balcony. This balcony looks north, and so you can see north of the town the Lake Morwindle, which kind of wraps around the spit of land the town is on. Beyond the lake, you see the dead blasted deadlands where there are just like standing petrified trees everywhere, and you can see the dark tower of Gurthang in the distance from here, beyond, just poking up over the horizon beyond the out in the deadlands somewhere, and you can see just because the tower is so top of this tower, and the single red light that seems to be on in some kind of high window slit. Through the murky, dim dawn of the gray leaden sky of this wintry morning. And at first, it looks like the trees are moving in the forest until you realize that it is the movement of armies. And you had heard that there was some sort of army of cultists amassing to the north. But in particular, you see south from that, along the shores of Morwindle, some only, dozen miles or so north of the city, on a rock spit on the cliffs overlooking the lake, you see a group. And those of you with the best sight, which I'm not even sure who that would be. Maybe Copernicus will pull out the gem of true seeing to get a good glimpse. But you see, actually, Pernie has the watch glass that he got from Captain
Oh, nice.
Darius still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you can like pull that out and get a little look as she points and goes, "I had thought you had brought this here." And you look through and you see. Oh, and by the way, when you came up to the balcony, Sextus was already there, staring out to the north.
Just assume he's
You
in every
see,
room.
yeah. Well, you left him in the dining room, but it's not like he eats. So,
Yeah.
And that was a fair while ago now. But you see through the glass a circle of cloaked figures, just black cloaks with the armor can be seen under the cloaks, armored gauntlets, armored breasts, but no faces, no trace of body within these cloaks. And they ride. They're all seated on horses, but you recognize them instantly as spectral steeds that you also can summon. And this circle of these dark riders are facing like a semicircle, looking out from the spit of rock, and you can see a figure hovering in the air, and you catch a glimpse of shining bald pate of this figure, who is clearly doing some kind of magic. And Sextus drones at you. The faceless ones. You cannot kill them. How has he gained this power? How has he made such an alliance? And he shakes his head. And Lucretia says, whatever ritual he is doing, it is meant to be our doom. Send word to the city. Send word to the Baron. And as he says that, and one of the servants like nods and disappears into the shadows. As she says that, the waters of the lake begin to roil as though they are boiling, and something huge begins to rise, and that is where we will leave off until after
Oh, boy.
Christmas.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
That seems like a problem. That's a problem for next year.
Yep. Yeah, problem for next
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you to the chat for voting for a vision about Oogna's mom.
Yes, thank
I will
you.
reveal that the other two options were a vision about Tromlin's quest and a vision
Ooh.
about the villains plotting. So
Interesting.
We've got some interesting story notes.
Now that there's a gigantic army, I feel a little bit silly about using silent, but oh well.
Ah, well.
No, that helps.
Well,
That helps.
you're still trying to hide the whole Oogna's sword thing.
Yeah.
True.
So let me roll for some art giveaway. What am I rolling?
I don't know. I wasn't able to pull it off, which is being weird again. But roll and I'll note it down, and then I'll post in Discord.
I'm going to roll a d20,
Yep.
and then you can do math to figure out what proportion
Sounds good.
that refers to. So I've rolled a 19. You can
Okay.
write that down and then place that. Use it to figure out who's getting an art giveaway. As we get more weird obnoxiousness from Twitch. But I'll remind the audience, this is one of the good reasons to subscribe to the channel, is that every game we do an art giveaway to the subscribers. So that was the draw. We don't know who it was yet, but when we can get Twitch to tell us who the heck the people are, we will give you guys that information. Anybody want to shout something out?
This year
I will.
will be the anniversary. Oh, this week will be the anniversary of my comic.
Oh, wow.
19th.
Ooh.
Who?
I don't remember how many years it's. Oh, it's been 23.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wow.
3 years of something
Wow.
positive.
It will also be the anniversary of Thimble Theater, which also started December 19th, 1919.
Wow.
Sweet.
Cool.
That is a much longer
Holy smokes.
anniversary.
Yes.
Yes,
That's,
yes.
how Morgan is celebrating the news. Or the,
Oh,
the anniversary.
MLIS Revenge mentions that the Patreon subscribers as well. Please
Yeah,
feel free
yeah.
to join the channel Patreon. You can find a link to it in the doobly-doo under the stream or on YouTube. But it's just the Trash Heroes Patreon. I'm going to post a bunch of stuff over Christmas because I'm behind. But I am done marking as of
Oh,
yesterday.
that dance animation's good.
Yeah. Three Morgan's partying.
Nice.
Morgan's partying because I'm done grading.
Woo!
2 Morgan's
Hell
partying,
yeah.
1 Morgan severely distraught.
Isn't that usually how it is?
That's-
I feel like
yeah.
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
There are 3 Morgans inside you.
Yeah.
3 Morgan Moon.
And you
Yes.
have to pay a lot for that service.
It is a pretty expensive service,
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Who? Anyone else got anything to shout out for Christmas?
I got merch at the nat21workshop.com shop. I'm trying to buy a broadsword, so
Nice.
anything you buy goes towards
Nice.
the broadsword fund.
Nice.
Help Peter buy a sword.
The
Promise
Help
to
by a
use
Sword
Peter's
Fund.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think.
And of course, don't forget about the Discord, everybody. If you aren't on it,
Yeah.
that's where we'll be doing whatever chatting we're going to do over the holidays. Read Jeff's comic. He's not here
Yep.
right now because he's heading.
Oh,
out
the people
Christmas.
cannot see the twerk. Hold on. There
There we go.
And of course, we're going to be gaming again in a little over probably 3 weeks, but probably not on the Sunday. More likely on the
1, 2, 3.
the usual. What are we doing lately? Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So probably Tuesday the 7th for
The
next game.
7th?
Yep.
Cool.
That's the likely next game.
But we'll
Any,
keep you up to
final
date on the
shout-outs?
Discord. We'll let you know what's up. I think I've got another fairy
Oh, I
game
guess it
this
was my
Friday, the
birthday
20th.
the
Oh
other
yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Raven.
Happy belated
Yeah,
birthday.
I'm 36.
Hence the
question mark?
dancing.
Hey.
Yeah. I made the dancing emote as part of the
Nice.
birthday week celebration.
Nice.
I have various wish lists on my things. If you want to check out my channel on my website. Yeah, that's about it.
This looks like Oogna situation. Actually, it's like the real Oogna, while the other 2 Oognas are one of them's punching and the other one's twerking.
That's
I'm
Looks
accurate.
like the same
imagining-
thing happened to Morgan.
Yeah.
I'm imagining it's Morgan's the devil Morgan and the angel Morgan on Morgan's shoulders. So the middle Morgan's trying to make a decision, but both Morgans agree.
Perfect.
Like,
It's like horny or party. That's
Perfect.
That's the question.
yeah.
All right, folks. Alina was mentioning another game on the 20th.
Yep. On Altered Echo Archives, I think we'll be doing our fairy game. Beyond that, I don't know because it'll be deep into the holiday season. But come check out our dumb adventurers in Fairyland.
Hell yeah.
They are such a
Okay.
mess. I love them.
I think I dropped in on you teleporting to random locations in some plaid jammy bottoms,
Yes.
demonias, and a lot of mirrors.
Yes.
I think like Yugoslavia was one of the places you went.
Yeah, I was trying to find
Alina
my
and I-
companions. I was trying to get back to the real world, but I kept coming back to the real world in the wrong spots.
So Alina and I have got to get going too because we
Yep.
are going to go to see Baby Metal.
Woo!
Nice.
Just the movie, not
Awesome.
the actual concert.
Yeah, they
Oh.
recorded a concert and they're putting it in movie theaters for one day.
I would be
So
dressed
we are
way
gonna go.
fancier if I was going to a Baby Metal concert.
Way
Yeah,
spikier.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Have a very good
happy
holiday.
holiday season. Rest up. Stay safe.
Be safe.
And we'll do some more crazy trash adventures in the
Yeah.
new year.
See y'all
Hell
in the new year.
yeah.
See y'all later.
Happy holidays, everyone. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.